Now for more reaction, we are now joined via Zoom by the National Association of Governing Bodies Secretary General Matakanye Matakanye. A very good afternoon to you. So as always, a pleasure to see you. Thank you for being with us.
Good afternoon to our and your listeners.
As rightly said or pointed out by the Deputy Minister today, that, the briefing comes at a time in the year when, the schools would have reopened, when things are normal, when learners are in class. Some reaction, please, from the National Association of Governing Bodies regarding the announcement today by the Department of Education.
Thank you very much, Flo, once again. Then we are in support of the proposal because this agreement finally by the GBE is a proposal that comes from the NCCC that the health facilities are overwhelmed. Therefore, the NCCC need a breather so that they will be able to manage the health facilities. So we found it now reasonable. Then we felt that now we have to agree, we have to support the Department of Education in that regard. However, then we are saying if they are being provided probably with 2 weeks to breathe, then they must also prepare the institutions to become to a level where our children, to a level where our teachers are safe in schools. Because we thought they would have been prepared up to now, because if you remember, Flo, is that as from last year, we have been struggling with this pandemic. We come from level 5 up to level 1. We are back to level 3. So I think by this now, then the Department of Education will have matured in terms of safety of our children and our teachers in schools. So it means, therefore, they aren't prepared. Then we are saying for these 2 weeks, they must really ensure that now our institutions are safe for our children. There must be enough PPE. Then the flow of, the schools must be having, those who did not have flowing water, they must have flowing water, particularly schools that are in the deep rural, the rural areas, schools that are in the poor areas, the working class schools, schools that are in the township. The Department of Education must ensure that now those schools have the very same service as other schools, because there are other schools in this country, like for instance the private schools, some of them have opened. So it means therefore they are able to manage this pandemic through the protective measures. So we are saying to the Department of Education, please ensure that now our children are protected and ensure that now they are also protected when they go home. We know that now there will be children who are not able to come back because they have got communities. But at the same time, I think we want to also call upon the Department of Education to ensure that now there are equipments because some of the children are learning remotely. So we are saying there must be enough equipment so that now those children who are not coming back to school, they must learn remotely equally with those children that are going to school.
I'd like to talk about your concern really in terms of, another difficult year for scholars, another difficult year for learners and actually teachers as well too, as they're down a month from previous years. I mean, if they're opening on the 15th of February, that means that's like more than a month than we'd usually, as the schools do start early in January. I'd like to get your reaction about the fact that we're to accept the fact that this will be yet another difficult year for learners, scholars and teachers as well. I mean, I hear the Department of Basic Education saying that they'll work closely with the schools and education departments in all 9 provinces, pardon me. And I just wonder if that is enough, especially for the public schools. I mean, if you look at the private schools, I mean, you talk about learning remotely. It might be easier for schools, for private schools to do so. But the public schools is where, the issue really is. And I wonder what your concern is about the fact that this will be yet another difficult year. Must we just accept that?
You will remember, Flo, last year when we said the system is not ready. If you remember well, is that schools grade 7 and grade 12 supposed to have reopened on the 1st of June 2020. Then you'll remember that we're part and parcel of all the organizations that we said, no, not on the 1st of June because the system is not yet ready. Rather, open on the 8th. And I think if you remember well, Flo, is that on the 8th, then grade 7 and grade 12 opened. And we put conditions to say you have to open school based on these conditions. And some of the conditions, if you remember, was that there must be flowing water in schools, enough abolition, the PPEs, the mask, social distance must be observed, sanitizers, and people must be hired. But as I'm told, our concern now is that, up to now, then the department, it shows very clearly that it's not ready because when the NCCC approached it and say, we want a breather.
Yeah.
A breather is when the NCCC is talking about the hospitals. It's not talking about the breather in the schools. But it showed that now if those children go back to those schools, if they go back to the teachers and the children, really it's a death trap. Then that's why they have agreed. But it shows that now they have not agreed. Because what we were told is that now if there are enough PPE in schools, then at least we'll be able to manage.
Yeah.
I know that will not protect, but I will be able to manage this. So what our concern, our real concern is that the Department of Education is really not able to manage, and I indicated very clearly, schools that are in the rural, the deep rural, schools that are catering for working class children, schools that are in the townships, the poor schools, really when it comes to remote learning, they will not be able to learn. They don't have those equipments. For instance, I'm in the countryside now. I even, went around the places to look for the network and all those things. So it therefore implies that now the department, as much as the government, they don't really concentrate on those things. They must concentrate on those areas so that our children get equal education, because we are fighting for equal education for all, not for those who are rich. And this is what concerns us most, Flo.
Yeah, that is really concerning, and that's why I raised the issue, because even on the show we've had some learners talking about that they'd rather risk it and go to school rather than be at home, where sometimes they don't have the access to the internet. But just another part of the story as well, which the Deputy Minister did touch on during the briefing. She said that some markers of the matric papers have passed away, and a lot of them are now actually quite scared to go back to the marking venues, and justifiably so, of course. And what I wonder about this is the fact that this may then cause further delays in terms of the marking process and the ability of the matric learners to be able to use their matric certificate for whatever it is that they want to use them for. So this delay is also causing, some kind of, it's almost like a domino effect what's happening, because, we've got this situation where the markers are passing away. Some of them are not arriving at the venues, and it doesn't seem as though the papers will be marked on time to be able to enable to give the learners time to use their matric certificates for whether it's varsity or whatever they plan to use them for. What's your reaction to all of this? I understand, as the Minister said, that COVID-19 has really caused our lives to kind of go upside down, inside out, but we have to deal with these issues. What do you think?
Firstly, we acknowledge the difficulty that the department is facing. However, but what we are saying is that look, they supposed to have prepared fully for this eventuality. Then all these centers, the centers that the teachers are marking at, they supposed to be fully fumigated, all the PPE provided in those schools. Well, we understand that now. Probably some of these markers might have contracted the illness at home. They are bringing the illness at the center. But we really do not believe that now, when a marker has come to the center without the contraction of this illness, then it's going to contract the illness at the center. Because firstly, if this person had contracted the illness at home, by the time this person enters the center, then he must be detected and say, no. And that person must not be allowed. So it shows once again that the department was not really ready to these things, knowing that now this pandemic is so dangerous. They were not really to protect our teachers, you know.
Yeah.
They suppose, and we once again wants to call upon them, and that also has delayed. It's going to delay the results of our children, and I don't know what is really going to happen, because they have a timeline that now the marking will start this time and the marking will end this time. Then this time, then they'll be issuing results, and also that our children are able to proceed to the universities. So it's a concern. It's a real concern, but we really want to call upon the department to ensure that now, really and truly, they must stick to standard operation procedures, so that now our teachers are really protected. And once they protect the teachers, then I think they will be able to finish in time, and our children will get results in time.
All right, Tate Matakanye, stay well. Thank you very much for giving us your time, and enjoy your break in the village. I'm sure it's peaceful and serene. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Flo. You can see that I'm in the village.
I can see. All right.